I have two kids, a toddler and a preschool girl, and my sister has a son who's a toddler. She's a mommy blogger and embraces the white beige aesthetic. This preference is reflected in every room of her apartment, including seasonal decorations, and she's pretty intense about it. I've never said anything to her about it, as it brings her joy. Some months ago, I stumbled upon a TikTok channel where a woman adopts a fake German accent to review fashion for what she calls sad beige babies. It's really funny. It's become an inside joke at our home. My nephew was seated on my lap with my parents and husband during our recent visit to our apartment. We were playing. I was wobbling him on my lap and pretending to eat his little arms. I intentionally slipped into the sad beige baby persona as I was talking gibberish. I didn't anticipate it becoming an issue. However, when I mentioned sad beige baby, my sister became furious. She expressed frustration, stating that she's tired of people critiquing her decorating preferences. When my brother tried to explain that it was meant as a joke and that she was too uptight about her aesthetic, she angrily spilled her red wine on the white tablecloth near me, exclaiming, "Are you happy now?" She then asked us to leave and has since inundated me with direct messages on Instagram, sending me numerous mommy accounts sharing the same aesthetic. My mother believes I should apologize for my unintentionally rude comment. I'm utterly taken aback because, in truth, it wasn't even directed at my sister. My nephew happened to be wearing a beige sweater and made an exaggerated sad face, which prompted laughter, thus me calling him a sad beige baby. Am I the idiot here? Everyone's the idiot here. You for your comment that got out, and her for overreacting. Although this made me laugh. She's sending me numerous mommy accounts, sharing the same aesthetic. I'm not sure what she thought would persuade you about her good taste by sending lots of equally beige mommies for you to look at. LOL. That's the whole joke. Lots of beige moms are paying tons of money for a burlap potato sack or a stuffed animal that looks like someone's first knitting mistake. Listen, if you're confident enough to make it your whole aesthetic, you have to be confident enough not to care when people think it's ugly. There will always be haters, so you must be secure in your decisions. I think that's why she lashed out in all honesty, especially with the "look, other moms are doing it too." It just screams that she was already insecure about it. I disagree. OP, you are the idiot. You've intentionally engaged in a social media trend repeatedly that mocks your sister's lifestyle and turns it into an inside joke to mock. Sad beige babies? The joke is so prevalent in your life that you couldn't avoid mocking her in her own home. Yeah, the beige aesthetic isn't my favorite, although I currently have no aesthetic with my toddlers. But I'm not tearing down moms who do. You should apologize and maybe look at why you find it so humorous to mock other moms. You seem to overlook that this grown woman got upset to dump red wine all over the tablecloth and yell at OP over a meme. It mocks incredibly ugly decorations and crappy moms who care more about aesthetics than about letting their kids enjoy themselves. No kids want the sad beige bedrooms and sad beige birthday parties. OP shouldn't apologize just because her sister sucks. Some people think parents, especially mothers, should never be criticized and should always be supported in even their worst choices for their kids because the grown woman's feelings are more important to them than what's best for the kids. Exactly. That's why I'm firmly on the team, not the idiot. Like, girl, you threw wine on your own tablecloth because your sister made a joke? Someone else has been giving her heck about this, and OP snapped. Babies and toddlers need contrast for visual development, especially in the first 12 months. This aesthetics BS, no colorful toys, has probably done most of its damage already, so I have no issues with you calling it out. I'm sorry she's so sensitive. She must know deep down that it's weird to drain all color from a child's life. I, 45 male, have a son, teen, who loves to play video games. I purchased him a PlayStation 5 for his birthday last year, and he plays online with friends. He's been telling me that he's been chatting online with a girl 1 year younger, and they've slowly started dating. They don't talk over the microphones as hers broke, and he has no idea what she looks like. I told him to be careful about what he sent to her and not to give her any personal information. My son has his own credit card with a limit on it, and I told him not to go over the limit and only use it for emergencies. I got the credit card bill for this month, and there were repeated charges for the game he plays of $50 to $100. I was furious, as he got gift cards for the games for his birthday and Christmas. I approached him with the bill and asked him what the charges were. He told me his girlfriend wanted new stuff for the game and would break up with him if he didn't purchase it, and would break up with him if he didn't purchase them. I told him that I would pay the charges, and then he would have to pay me back the money. I told him that many jobs would hire him. He got angry with me because he wouldn't have time to work because he plays sports and goes to school. I told him that if I could balance working and school, he would have no problem doing it. I took his credit card away. He's not speaking to me now, only if it's about being picked up or needing a ride to see his friends. He's mad that I'm making him pay the money back and get a job. Am I the idiot for telling my son to pay back the money he spent on his online girlfriend? That's not a girlfriend and probably not even a girl. Romance scammer. Not the idiot, but you really need to go farther, but not in punishing. You need to teach him about romance scammers, and since you didn't, I'm assuming you don't know all that much about them. This is exactly what they do, get people to buy gift cards, etc. LOL, her microphone was broken? That's because it's a man. OP, you did the right thing. He is being catfished big time. He knew it was for emergencies only. A game is not an emergency. You warned him to be careful with her and he ignored that. It's fair to expect him to pay back those charges. He's 16, old enough to learn the value of work and money. Please stop calling her an online girlfriend and start referring to her as she is, more likely a 40-something man. That said, you are the idiot for allowing your teenager unsupervised access to a credit card without teaching him about online scams. He should have been taught to see that long ago, especially not to send multiple $50 to $100 gift cards to his girlfriend. My 28 female brother Alex, 33, his wife Rachel, 35, and their daughter Infant are staying with me because they're back in our hometown for the month, and our parents' house is being renovated, so they have nowhere else to stay. I'm a nurse and work strange shifts sometimes. A few nights ago, I got home around 2 a.m. after my shift. Usually, I either work day or night shifts, so getting home at 2 a.m. was unusual, but it happened sometimes. Anyway, I walked into the house as quietly as I could, but the stairs creaked, so Rachel heard me come up. The next morning, she asked if coming home at 2 a.m. would be a regular occurrence because I woke her up. She asked if I could avoid coming home at such hours or walking up the stairs because she'd wake up. I said I'd avoid it as best I could, but some things will be unavoidable, and I apologize in advance. She keeps complaining whenever my brother or I walk up and down the stairs when she's trying to take a nap or at night when she's asleep. She's been complaining about literally everything. She'll say stuff like, "Ugh, this Wi-Fi is crap. Ugh, this area is too noisy. I can't sleep. Ugh, this couch is bad for my back. Ugh, the fruits here are terrible. Ugh, these folks are too thin." If she were complaining about things I could change easily, I wouldn't mind because I want them to enjoy their stay here. But hearing her complain about everything under the sun is draining. I hate coming home from work just to hear her complain and complain and complain. Yesterday, after she complained about how much she hates my induction stove and told me I should just get a regular gas stove, and I said I keep my house just as I like it, so she shouldn't worry about it. She said, "Yeah, it's how I like it, but it makes it difficult for guests." I said I barely ever have guests, and the only reason they're staying with me is because I wanted to do them a favor. But they're absolutely welcome to get a hotel if she'll just complain about everything. She told my brother about our conversation, and he said I'd put him in a tough spot because he can't afford to get them a hotel or Airbnb for weeks. But now I've made his wife not want to stay with me anymore. I said that's all on his wife, and none of that is my problem. Things are very hostile and weird around here. Am I the idiot? Girl, I don't even know why you need to apologize for walking up the stairs in your house. Your sister-in-law's a tad too entitled, and she needs a reality check. Stop tiptoeing around her, literally and figuratively. You are not the idiot, but you need to sit them both down and tell them that you want them to stay, but your complaint tolerance level has been reached. They're free to stay, but one more complaint and the decision to stay is yours, not theirs. How dare OP enter their own house and want to go to their own bed when they get home from work, the one she's working to pay for the roof over sister-in-law and brother's head? Absolute monster. From the sound of it, OP would have to stay out all day and night due to sister-in-law taking naps. Oh, come on. Can't you just be a little more accommodating? Just fix the Wi-Fi. Make a sign that explains to anyone in the area that you have important company and therefore they all need to be quiet. Replace your silverware and get a gas stove. And for goodness sake, learn to levitate so you don't bother anyone in your home. I mean, isn't the reason that you have a home is so that you can host other people? Also, after you've replaced everything, you should go stay in a hotel so they feel more comfortable. Don't be ridiculous. She'll obviously have to get the stairs rebuilt quickly and quietly, and maybe have a separate higher quality apartment built for them to stay in the next time. OP, it's time to stomp up the stairs a few times so she realizes how quiet you've been. Or run the vacuum. I'm sorry, but you have to put your brother in a tough spot. He has to tell his wife they literally can't afford to be rude to people who host them. She needs to apologize to you. Seriously, if you were letting me stay at your house after working a bonkers shift, I'd make sure I laid out a snack and crap for you. This lady is rude as heck. Every spring, my wife's family holds a family reunion. They don't celebrate holidays together often, so they go all out for these, renting a hall, catering, the works. The only weird event at these reunions is a clothing swap between the women of the family. For whatever reason, when my wife and her sisters had daughters close in age, they decided a long time ago that this was the best way to do family hand-me-downs. All the women in my wife's family ended up being very short, 4'10" to 5'1", so they all wear rare but similar sizes, so it always worked out. With a 70-30 gender split, and the only men in the family being myself, my brother-in-law, and my sons from a previous relationship, this swap meet is the main event. They make a whole show about it. It's incredibly boring from the outside, so my boys and I always head out early, if we go at all. This would be a non-issue if it weren't for my daughter, Kate. She's my wife and my ours baby. Kate took after my side of the family. We're a taller family, or at least not Keebler elves, so by the time she was 11, she started coming back with nothing from these parties. The first time I assumed that she was just picky, until I realized that she was beginning to be bigger than her older sisters and cousins and had outgrown any size they would wear. My wife thought she needed to realize that not everything is for everyone and to have fun being there. Last year, she started having body image issues, thinking she was fat and needed to go on a diet. And now I'm thinking having this event is just feeding it. This year is going to be a massive deal as my mother-in-law is going into a nursing home and is downsizing. She was so into fashion that she has a full storage unit of stuff. So this will be a ton of stuff. I'm starting to think the reunion shouldn't involve a clothing swap at all, and that it should be done privately at another time. Family shouldn't be about a fashion show. My wife thinks that's ridiculous, and Kate's just having typical teenage problems that'll go away on their own. But if she's so bothered, she can just not go or stay with the boys. I don't think that's right. This is mainly a girls' reunion. It's not like there's anything else as an alternative for her to share, because they don't really get rid of accessories or anything. It's just clothes. This event is starting to get mean and exclusionary, and it needs to end. I'm trying my best to make them see sense and get nothing but arguments. Am I really in the wrong here? Not the idiot for wanting to end it. Probably would not be the idiot for actively ending it, at least if there was no resistance. But there will be resistance. Your wife doesn't see the problem, and frankly, it doesn't sound like she's going to. Still, the first solution is always talking about it. Talk with your wife about why it's upsetting and even harmful, and simply being told to sit out by your mother while everyone else is having fun is not a healthy solution. This is probably an unpopular opinion, but I think you are the idiot, and you're overreacting. My friend group has clothing swaps all the time. I'm on the larger side and often don't fit a lot. I still love that they have them and love participating. If Kate really doesn't like it, don't make her go. She can leave early with you and the boys. But to want them to cancel the entire thing because your daughter feels insecure seems extreme. I can't imagine asking my friends to stop them because lots of the clothes aren't my size. I'm 28 male, getting married next year. I am 100% no contact with my mother and have been for the past 10 years. I've not lived in her house in 12 years. Yes, at 16 I was living somewhere other than with her. The no contact is not changing for anything. Yes, she attempted to reach out and make amends at that time, but I'm not interested and have continued to keep all points of contact between us closed. This includes the family on her side. I do talk mainly to her parents, 2 of her siblings, and her 2 siblings, 5 kids, aka my cousins. I talk to them because they were there for me. The reason for the estrangement? I don't like who she became after my dad died. I was 8 when he passed and 9 when my mom suddenly announced that all photos of Dad, all his clothes and possessions, and anything to do with him were being boxed up and sent to his parents because she wanted us to move on from Dad. She wanted to be married again, and she didn't want her new husband to be uncomfortable seeing her dead husband's face everywhere. She wanted me to like and love whoever she married, and didn't want me to cling to a dead man who wasn't coming back and was no longer part of our lives. She refused to let me have a photo or 2 for my room and told me she would not fight with me. She had already fought with his parents because they were outraged that she wanted to throw all of his stuff and photos in the trash. From that day on, my mom was cold towards me if I even attempted to bring up my dad. She did remarry. She had 3, possibly more after I left, kids. She married a man who was bitter that I wouldn't call him dad and refused to change my last name to his and accept him adopting me. My mother was furious with me for stopping the adoption. They had spent thousands on a lawyer who they felt would be able to push it through regardless of my feelings. When I moved out at 16, I spent 2 weeks with my maternal grandparents before going to my paternal grandparents, and the relatives I mentioned above continued being supportive and understanding, even after I left the state. But now that's changed. They brought up inviting my mother and her family to my wedding several times, and I told them nothing had changed for me. They would try to make persuasive arguments about why I should invite her and let her be there for this day. I got a little firmer with them, and then they changed course and said I should invite her other children with them so they could have a relationship. I refused that too. Then they brought up how important it is to invite my mother. This is when I told them that if they bring it up again or try anything to get her there, they can be uninvited. I told them I would make them leave on that day if I had to. They told me there was no reason to be so harsh towards them. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. What is it about people's fantasies of a happy, reconciled family that they stop seeing reality and think they can just impose on others to get that hallmark moment? You will need some appointed guards at your wedding because it doesn't seem like people will give up, and because your mother will be informed of where and when. She might just show up on her own volition. Honestly, expect drama unless you elope. About your mom, it sounds like she was having a hard time with the loss of your father and didn't want to be consumed by grief anymore. Plus, some people just can't be alone. And it sounds like she may have just wanted the same for you too. She went about everything incorrectly, but her intentions might have been good. At some point, you should reach out and connect with your mom. Listen to her side of the story and why she did what she did. You might have a different perspective listening to her now than you did as a child. Even if you don't make up, it'll bring closure. Just not for the wedding. You don't want to mess things up.